Somebody say we shall overcome someday. Well, deep in my heart, oh, I believe that we shall overcome someday. Hey, we shall. Somebody say we shall. With a smile on my face. Together. Yeah, we shall. Somebody say that we shall. Bring out that we shall overcome someday. Well, deep in my heart, oh, I believe that we shall overcome someday.
Rainbow Push Coalition, we are live here in Dr. King's workshop. Listen, you still have time to meet us here, 50th and Drexel. Call somebody, text somebody, tweet somebody, let them know that the push is still on.
Oh, I do believe that we shall overcome someday. One more time. Yeah, we shall. Somebody say we shall. Let it ring out. We shall. Oh, someday. Yeah, deep in my heart. Oh, I do believe that we shall overcome someday.
Turn us up right now on your radio. Turn us up right now on your television. We are live right now all over the world. Call us right now, 773-256-2775, 773-256-2775. We are live right now on the Impact Network. We are live right now on AM 1690 and iHeartRadio. We are live on WVON. We are live on our website. We're streaming at rainbowpush.org. We are grateful to each and every one of you who tune in each and every week, wherever you are, your homes, your automobiles, your places of business, wherever you're kind enough to tune in. We thank God for you. For those of you who are connecting with us overseas via the World Wide Web, we are grateful for you, our friends in Nigeria, in Egypt, in Poland, in Sweden, in the United Kingdom. To our friends right here in the United States, especially our satellite cities of New York, Washington, D.C., Detroit, Atlanta, and Silicon Valley, we thank God for you. Come on, can we just celebrate our friends who are watching us right now all over the world? Listen, we want to dedicate this broadcast today to a brother beloved, Mr. George O'Hare. He was a longtime civil rights activist. He was one of the original Breadbasket members, a part of this movement, alongside Reverend Jackson. He is being funeralized right now. We are lifting his family up in a very special way on today. We also want to congratulate our brother, Colin Kaepernick, on being named GQ Magazine's 2017 Citizen of the Year. So we thank God for his prophetic voice and for his unyielding commitment to social justice despite the pressures from those around him. Listen, we want to make you aware of a few upcoming events here at Rainbow Push as we enter into this holiday season. This coming Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, right here at Rainbow Push, November 23rd, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., we will have our free Thanksgiving dinner. If you don't have a place to break bread here in the greater Chicagoland area, we want to invite you to be our very special guest right here at Rainbow Push, 50th and Drexel, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And we want to thank our friends at Gibson's Restaurant for their generous contribution each year in making our Thanksgiving dinner possible. Also, as we enter the month of December, each and every December, we celebrate our founders and our anniversary month. all month long here, the month of December. Each and every week we will highlight a different aspect of our history. And so you do not want to miss out on the month of December. Each and every Saturday in the month, we will celebrate our anniversary month. And also, we want you to be mindful of our push store. Our Freedom Store is open and ready for business. As we approach the holiday season, you can go and buy that special gift for your loved one, a shirt, a hat, a book, right here at our Freedom Store. It's open every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. right here at 50th and Drexel. Listen, we're going to hear now from our dynamic music ministry led by Brother Maurice Mahan. Let's give it up for our music ministry as they come in their own way.
How's everybody doing? There's one thing I know. Our God is awesome. He can move the mountain, keep me in the valley, hide me from the rain. My God is awesome. Heals me when I'm broke. Give me strength when I am weak. Ever He will reign. Oh, my God is awesome. He's awesome. Said, I know that He's awesome. Said, He's awesome. My God is awesome. Said, He's awesome. I know that He oh, He is. Said, my God is awesome. Heals me when I'm broke. Give me strength when I am weak. Ever He will reign. Oh, my God is awesome. Heals you when you're broke. Give you strength when you are weak. Ever He will reign. My God is awesome. He's awesome. I know that He's awesome. He. Come on, y'all sing with me. So my God is awesome. I know that He's awesome. My God is awesome. Oh, He is. Y'all can do better than that. Come on, say it. Said my God is awesome. I know that He's awesome. Oh, He is that He's awesome. Oh, my God is awesome. Oh, my God is awesome. He is, oh, He's awesome. I know that He's awesome. Oh, say that He's mighty. He's mighty. He's mighty. He's mighty. He's mighty. He's awesome. I know that He's awesome. Oh, said that He's great. He's great. He's great. He's great. He's great. He's great. He's awesome. I know that He's awesome. Oh, said that He's holy. He's holy. He's holy. He's holy. He's holy. He's holy. He's awesome. I know that He is awesome. Oh, said that you're healing. You're healing. You're healing. You're healing. He's awesome. I know that He's awesome. Oh, said your provider. Your provider. Your provider. Your provider. Said my God He said I know that He. Oh, said for deliverer. He's awesome. I know that He's. Let me just get drums. Come on, said your protector. Your protector. Your protector. Your protector. He is awesome. I know that He's awesome. Hey, He's holy. He's awesome. I know that He is, and He's awesome. Said my God is awesome. He can move the mountain, keep me in the valley, hide me from the rain. Said my God is awesome. Said He'll heal you when you're broken, give you strength when you are weak, and forever He will reign.
Come on, if you know we serve an awesome God, if you know we serve a mighty God, you ought to give that God praise on a Saturday morning. Our God is still awesome. We're going to hear now, she's no stranger here at Rainbow Push. She's a prolific writer, public intellectual, and leading economist. She's our very own Dr. Julianne Malveaux. She also serves as the president of our Push Excel Push for Excellence division. Give it up for Dr. Malveaux.
Good morning, Push family. Again, good morning, y'all. It is great to be here. Great to just share some good news, to talk just a bit about the power of the sister vote. The power of the sister vote in New Jersey. In New Jersey. Before I start talking, though, let me just thank Reverend Jackson for this opportunity and the opportunity to lead Push Excel. I have some of my board members here, Joe Moore, Pat Harris, anybody else on Push Excel? Yeah, they're in the house. Stand up, y'all, please. They help us do the work we do. And Dr. we're going to let you be an honorary member of Push Excel Board because we love you so much. Let me also just say very briefly that I hope all of you are planning to come to the Push Excel breakfast on January 15th. We raise money for our scholarships, and as you know, Push Excel through Rainbow Push has given away almost $10 million worth of scholarships. Many of them go to our students at historically black colleges and universities, and we're just always very grateful for the opportunity to have the community support. I see John Rogers in the crowd. He always, just always, we ask him and he comes, and we're grateful to him. John, please stand up. Just please stand up. Thank you, my brother. We appreciate you. And now for that good news, y'all. We have an African-American woman who was elected lieutenant governor of New Jersey. Her name is Sheila Oliver. She is now the highest-ranking African-American woman at the statewide level. In Virginia, we have an African-American man, Justin Fairfax. He's only the second African-American to win statewide office in Virginia after Doug Wilder. But you know what happened in Virginia that I really have to share with you? 91% of African-American women voted for Ralph Northam. Now, I stutter over his name because I have to say this. This man is one of the dullest white men you will meet in your life. Watching him speak is like watching paint dry. But you know what? President Obama came out and supported him, and he was not the devil that the other guy was, Ed Gillespie, who tried to be a mini 45. But think about that 91% of black women's vote. Think about that. We don't get credit for the work we do. African-American women voters are the most underrepresented and unappreciated people in the Democratic Party. Melanie Campbell, the head of the Black Women's Roundtable, did a thing, the power of the sister vote, and we found that the Democratic Party is losing favor with African-American women because it does not represent us properly. Now, we're not running to the Republican hills. No, we're not doing that at all. We are demanding that our party, and we're demanding that all politicians be more responsive to the needs of African-American women. It is not time, it is overtime. Let's just look at something for a minute. White men represent roughly 35% of the population, roughly, maybe a little less. But they represent more than 70% of our legislators. What does that mean? It means they think it's okay to have tax cuts for corporations but not for people. So if you are a black woman with 3 children, single mom with 3 children, you're going to be worse off because of this so-called tax cut. It's not a tax cut, it's tax redistribution, and it's wrong. And that's why we have to elect more sensitive politicians, but we must elect more African-American women, and if we intend to continue with the Democratic Party, we need to get those folks in line. Pick up Donna Brazil's book. Pick up her book. She had to explain to some of Hillary's people that she was not a slave. Why, in 2016, are we explaining to people that we are not slaves? We are doing that because, in too many ways, people still want to enslave us. You could write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies, said Dr. Maya Angelou, but still, like dust, I rise. And sisters are rising at the ballot box. Sisters are rising and running for office. We are coalescing with our brothers and sisters who are woke. You could be white, but you got to be woke. You got to be woke. And so 2 Latina sisters were elected to the Virginia legislature with our votes. Why? Because they were woke. But there are a whole lot of unwoke folk. Unwoke folk. See, I'm trying to be Reverend Jackson. I'm rhyming. I'm going to do that again. Unwoke folk. Well, so many unwoke folk out there who are calling themselves representing our interests, they are not. So we have something to celebrate, but also something to fight for. Celebrate, we're celebrating the fact that we see the black woman's vote out there yet again doing the right thing. Fight for, though, we have to be clear about this power of that vote, and politicians need to come by us. Yes, we love our brothers and our community, but you know, when you have a black woman there, as Anna Julia Cooper said, when and where I enter, the interests of my race and my gender come with me. When and where I enter, everyone is being represented. But they don't want us to enter as systematically as we should. And that's why we come together on Saturdays here, to remind each other and to remind ourselves of the power of community and the power of that vote. Just here in Chicago yesterday, I came in both to be with my Rainbow family, but also because Delmarie Cobb has started a new PAC called Ida's Legacy, named after Ida B. Wells. And she is supporting black women who are running for office here in Chicago. In Washington, D.C., we have a PAC called Higher Heights, named after our esteemed Dr. Dorothy Irene Height, again because we want to encourage folks to run for office. Statewide, we have two women who are running for governors of their states. In Maryland, Maya Rockeymoore Cummings is running for governor of the state of Maryland, and she has already, praise the Lord, gotten the endorsement of Emily's List. Emily's List has finally learned their lesson. When Carol Moseley Braun ran for Senate, it took them a while to get it. This time they're on there early because Emily's List, the early money is like yeast. And the other woman who's running in Georgia, in the state of Georgia, is Stacey Abrams. And Stacey Abrams she was a state senator, and she is now running for governor. So these sisters deserve our support. But we also deserve, there are sisters sitting right here, right now, who need to be running for public office. What's your name, sister? What you won't do? Come on, because we need you. That's why I'm here. I'm standing here not only to give you good news, but to hope you've got some good news for me. And your good news for me would be that you will run for public office, that you will take this system on. How can the folks who are 30% of the population have 70% of the power? Part of the answer is because we let them do that. Reverend Jackson always says the same hands who pick peaches can pick presidents. And so we need to be picking some elected officials, and we need to do it now. Again, thank you all for your indulgence and listening to me. Get a sister, tell a sister, run for office. Sisters Rising. Thank you very much.
I'll give it up one more time for Dr. Julianne Malveaux. Listen, we have just come off another successful Media and Telecommunications Conference in DC, and we will hear more about that. We'll also hear about creative ways you can connect and give and support our work as we enter this holiday season. We'll hear about all these amazing things from our interim Chief Operating Officer. Give it up for Ms. Bonita Parker.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And let me say, we continue to appreciate the many heartfelt expressions that our organization has received regarding Reverend. Please continue to keep him, the family, and our entire organization in your prayers. We appreciate you, we love you, and continue to pray for us all. I want to commend our executive director and our DC staff, Mr. Steve Smith, and our planner, Kevin Branch, as well as our steering committee in DC for the phenomenal job they did with our DC Telecom Conference. If you were not there, you missed out on an amazing event. I'll give you some quick highlights. Our theme, of course, continues to be diversity and inclusion in media and telecom. We kicked off this conference on the Hill, and we had students with us from Richard Wright High School. We had time with Congressman Butterfield, who shared some thought-provoking information regarding the Voting Rights Act. And let me pause here parenthetically to remind you that we must continue to push for every citizen to have the federally protected right to vote. Right now, we have some regressive leadership in our country, you all, and if we don't continue to fight for the federally protected right to vote, we're going to look up one day and we're going to be excluded from the electoral process. States should not have the right to tell us if we can vote. We should have a federally protected, a federally mandated right to vote, and we continue to appreciate the work of Congressman Butterfield on pushing this agenda. But we didn't stop there. We took the children on to meet with Congressman Bobby Scott regarding the criminal justice reform. He did an amazing job telling us about the work we need to continue to do with the criminal justice system. Did you know that right now we have prisons being built on third-grade reading scores? Right now, there is a cell with your child's name on it if they are not reading at grade level in third grade. So we must not only continue to push for prison reform, but we must also keep the pressure on ensuring that we have a good school system so that our children are not criminalized. But we also have to change the minds of our children. Children should not see prison as a stepping stone in their career path. So please, please, please continue to work on that. I've digressed. Let me get back on target with the conference recap. After we left the Hill, we had an amazing ministers' luncheon as part of our 1,000 Churches Connected initiative. We had faith-based leaders from all across DMV, and Dr. H. Beecher Hicks brought a powerful message on the role that clergy plays with social justice reform. We concluded that day with a red carpet VIP mixer, followed by a wonderful Legacy Awards banquet and a special performance by Raheem Devon. On day 2, we had a lively panel with our hip hop, tech activism, and social responsibility forum. My heart was warmed to see how connected many of our millennials are to social justice and how many of our entertainers and athletes are using their voice for social reform. So we continue to push on that piece. And then we had a wonderful luncheon where Senator Dodd, in his role as the chairman of the Motion Picture Association, along with Rainbow Push, awarded $5,000 to Richard Wright High School to help them with their media and journalism efforts. We had several breakout sessions. We had several elected officials there. We had some wonderful honorees. I said all this to say you do not want to miss the next Rainbow Push event coming to a town near you. We doing the doggone thing, y'all. And if you don't connect, you are missing out. I always say get informed, get inspired, and get involved. You can only do that if you get the information. Finally, I want to remind all of you all, how many people use Amazon? How many people use Amazon? Okay, I admit I use Amazon too. You don't always have time to go to brick and mortar. I want to ask you to go to smile.amazon.com and select Push Excel as an organization that you would like to give to. If you already shop on Amazon, I'm not doing an infomercial for Amazon, but if you already shop on Amazon, 5% of every purchase you make will be donated to your charity of choice. I'm asking your charity of choice to be Push Excel, so please go on to smile.amazon.com, select Push Excel as your charity of choice, and every time you shop, you will be giving back to our organization. Last but certainly not least, Giving Tuesday is November 28th. We want you to please consider Rainbow Push as your charity of choice on Giving Tuesday, November 28th. Thank you so much for your indulgence. Keep pushing. We love you. Stay connected.
Let's hear it for Benita Parker one more time. You can follow Reverend Jackson right now on Twitter at Rev J Jackson. You can like him on Facebook, Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. You can listen and call in tomorrow. Keep Hope Alive Radio. Keep Hope Alive Radio, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Time, right here, AM 1690 WVON and iHeartRadio. And go to keephopealiveradio.com for more information. Listen, we will hear now from our young oratorical scholars led by Miss Carly Lewis from the Sutherland Elementary School. Let's hear them and support them and encourage them as they come in their own way.
Good morning, Rainbow Push family. We are part of the oratorical group, and today we will be reciting for you the I Am Somebody speech by the Reverend Jesse L. Jackson Sr. I am somebody. I am somebody. I may be poor, but I am somebody. I may be young, but I am somebody. I may be on welfare, but I am somebody. I may be small, but I am somebody. I may have made mistakes, but I am somebody. My clothes are different, my face is different, my hair is different, but I am somebody. We dedicate this speech to our hero, Reverend Jesse L. Jackson Sr., who isn't doing very well. We are hoping and praying for a speedy recovery. Thank you.
Say, oh, I am somebody. Oh, I am somebody. Yeah. I may be down, but not destroyed. Empty, but not void. 'Cause I am somebody. Oh, I am somebody. Oh, yeah, somebody. Hey, I may be down, but I'm not destroyed. I may be empty, but not void, 'cause I am somebody. Look at somebody and say, I am. Hey, I may be down, but I am somebody. Oh, I may be down, but I'm not destroyed. I may be empty, but not void, 'cause I am somebody. Hey, so just pray for me. Oh, just pray for me. Yeah. Oh, pray for me and pray for me. And while you're at it, let's just pray with me for our leaders. Pray with me. Yeah. Oh, pray, yeah. Pray with me for our leaders, for our leaders, for our leaders. Oh, just pray with me. Oh, just pray with me. Yeah. Oh, pray for our leader. Pray with me, because I am somebody. Oh, I am somebody. Hey, I may be down, but I'm not destroyed. Empty, but I'm not void, 'cause I am somebody. Look at somebody and say, I am somebody. Yeah, I may be down and hurt sometime, but empty but not void, 'cause I
now from our national spokesman. He needs no introduction. He stands in the tradition of Dr. King, his godfather. He stands in the tradition of his father, the Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson Sr. Help me make some noise for Jonathan Luther Jackson.
Thank you this morning. I'd like to give a very special thank you to my good friend, the Reverend Bishop, that's going to be with us this morning, Henry Williamson. We've heard a lot of great news this past week. My father, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, has come out and has acknowledged his battle now with the disease of Parkinson's. 60,000 Americans are diagnosed with Parkinson's a year. There are roughly 7 to 10 million people that have this disease around the world. And the good news is that it can be, the disease does not have to progress as fast with a healthy diet, exercise, and rest. So on this day, he is getting some much needed rest, and I am standing here in his rightful place, and he will be with us very soon. The Rainbow Push is strong, and it is going on. On this coming Monday, he'll be meeting with the Michael J. Fox Foundation dealing with Parkinson's, and he will use his energy and channel it to fight this disease as he has fought everything that has hampered and thwarted mankind before. And on one other piece of good news is that we come from a family of long livers and strong fighters. So for all of our friends and family, we thank you. And for all of our adversaries, we want you to know we are still in business and moving on. In Alabama today, African Americans have the power. They have the right to vote. In the spirit of the Reverend Martin Luther King, as we look upon his life in the 50th anniversary of his death coming up on April 4th of 2018, Alabama lays in the balance. Alabama can keep the country moving in the right direction. Dr. Julianne Malveaux said that African American men delivered over 80% of their vote to the Democratic Party, which was the deciding vote in Virginia. African American women delivered 91% of their vote to the Democratic Party. It is time African American men and women have their rightful place within the structure and the organization and the decision making and the check writing and the check granting within the Democratic Party. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to ask that you join me in welcoming a past president of Rainbow Push. My heart is heavy, but my heart is full of joy today. God is good. He promised never to leave us alone. And I'm going to ask a friend of my father, a friend of our family, the Right Reverend Henry Williamson, to now give us a word of prayer and give us our direction. Come on, Reverend Williamson.
What a mighty God we serve. I say, what a mighty God we serve. A healing God, a saving God, a forgiving God, a blessing God, sooner than right now and quicker than at once. A God who looks down on my friend and brother, Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson Sr. on today, whose hands are on Reverend Jackson, because we are praying and we are believing. He's never lost a battle that he fought, and he's fighting this battle not only for himself, but all who have Parkinson's and other challenges. So I ask you to join me at the CME Church, First District, and faithful leaders all over this country and world. Let's take 40 days and make a difference in prayer, in registering to vote, in going to our schools to
save and educate and liberate our children in the sunrise of life, then to the nursing homes to take care of our elderly in the sunset of life. How grateful I am for Reverend Jackson's leadership in my life and ministry. All the places we've marched and all the things that we've been able to do because of God and all of you. We are thankful. Push. People united to serve humanity. Push. Pray until something happens. That acronym ought to lift us in this season of Thanksgiving. Giving thanks to a wonderful God who has brought us, taught us, never left us, and allowed for us to move from the disgrace of slavery to the amazing grace of justice and freedom and opportunity, because we were willing to do our part. Are you listening to me? Willing to do our part. As Moses marched with the children of Israel out of Egypt into the promised land, as they marched, that was their part. But God had a part to play, because God is a if-then God. 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people who are called by my name humble themselves, pray, and seek my face, God's face, and turn from their evil and wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven, will forgive their sin and heal their land. That's the God who's brought us, taught us, kept us, lifted us to amazing heights. From mulebacks to Cadillacs, from slave ships to championships, from the outhouse to the White House, our God is able. All we have to do is our part. If we march, if we register to vote, if we spend money in our own community, if we stand up and fight back for equality and justice and freedom, then our God will show up at the showdown and we will win for all people. Red and yellow, brown, black, and white. All children, all people are precious in God's sight. As we reflect today, we remember and thank God for all of the clergy and faith leaders across this country and world who have stood and marched and registered and protested, sit-ins, lay-ins, pray-ins, in order to move our country forward toward equal opportunity, justice, and economic freedom. So thankful for the clergy and faith leaders who've already expressed their best wishes and their prayers. And I'm saying for the next 40 days, something about 40, you know, 40 days, 40 years, 40 weeks, 40 months, make a difference. It rained for 40 days, but as they prayed in that ship, Noah and his family landed on dry ground. It's something about the number 40, praying each day, giving God thanks for exactly what you want to happen in your personal life, in your family life, in your church and schools, and in your community that will bring about positive change for your family, city, community, nation, and yes, the world. I'm so grateful that my children who grew up here in Rainbow Push and at the Carter Temple CME Church, the Miracle on 79th Street, as we worked in prophetic ministry, engaging the community, busing in the homeless and the hungry and the naked, putting clothes and shoes on people's back and shoes on their feet, food in their stomach. God blessed us to move from 386 to over 3,000 active members. And I put 3 words on it, and the book is coming out. God did it. Look at your life. Nobody but a good God could have brought you where you are today. Reverend Jackson, getting arrested early in his life, just trying to go to a library. But God, after the arrest, got him out of jail. God did it. A man who has registered more voters than any other living American to put people in office who will have a moral and spiritual agenda of academic excellence and empowerment going forward. God did it. And we're thankful. Before the idea ever got in our mind, that Reverend Jackson taught us, if you can conceive it in your mind, believe it in your heart, got the courage to achieve it in your life, prepare for greatness. And what happened? 1984, there was a seed planted in this nation that a black man could run and be president. Unheard of. But Reverend Jesse Jackson, with the Rainbow Push Coalition, forged ahead with the idea, won the debates, won several primaries, got the attention of the world, came back in '88, ran again. More African American women and minority office holders. He had a trainload of leaders. An idea was planted. When a seed is planted in the ground, a great idea, its time will come. And here in Chicago, a man with a strange name from the south side of Chicago, no father in his life, mixed genealogy, man with a strange name, who all people, most pundits didn't give a chance, but they had forgotten John the Baptist in the wilderness declared, there is one coming greater than I, to take this seed to a higher level. And yes, we can be proud that he laid the foundation for Barack Obama to be elected President of the United States, not one time, but twice. We thank Reverend Jackson and encourage during these 40 days our 1,000 churches connected vision, that our children across the nation who are in jeopardy, educationally, morally, that they will achieve greatness in life through the church, through our One Church, One School, 1,000 churches connected. Dr. Fredonia Johnson, you know the Push Excel, and things that Reverend Dr. Attorney Jeanette Wilson, you heard the brilliant Dr. Malvo this morning talk about the millions of dollars in scholarship given through this program. But it is important for us to know that one of the disciples of Martin Luther King Jr., Dr. Marion Wright Edelman, the Children's Defense Fund, one who worked and did freedom schools in the South, where little children had not been allowed the opportunity to learn how to read, write, and think for themselves. Freedom schools, and thousands of college students of all racial and religious backgrounds went into the South working. And you know what happened in 1964. 3 young men, Cheney, Swerner, and Goodman, black, white, Jewish, were killed and buried in the bridge there in Mississippi. Well, when you give your life in a just cause, that's another seed planted that rose up and called for racial justice to take place in the nation. But Marion Wright Edelman said, we want our children to have a healthy start in life, a fair start in life, a moral start in life, a head start in life. That's what we now must do here in America. We must change the formula, the unjust funding formula for schools in America. Not property tax, but equal funding, that all children will have the proper funding to excel in these 5 areas, that through our 1,000 churches connected, we will have not only a STEM program, but a STEAM program, S-T-E-A-M, S, science, technology, engineering, but also English, A, arts, academics, and athletics, and math, but also morals and manners and proper behavior. All children, all scholars need this, and every church and every community can have an after school and a Saturday academy teaching STEAM to our children and making sure they advance. Thank you, Reverend Jackson, for again saying to the nation and here in Illinois that when you get a driver's license at 18 and you can go to war for your country and be killed, you should also receive a voter registration card so that you can exercise responsibility and elect men and women with a moral and political agenda of empowerment. How I thank God for Reverend Jackson's vision for partnering with corporate America, saying to boards of directors, corporate America, your board of directors shouldn't be all white males, but your board of directors ought to look like your consumer base. black, Hispanic, females. And by the way, since you need legal services, cut us in. Since you need funding services, cut in the black banks. Since you need insurances, we have insurance agents. Reverend Jackson's vision was, let's diversify. And in diversifying, your corporation will gain in financial profit and productivity. More, if we can drive Cadillacs, we can have a Cadillac dealership. If we can drive Volvos, we ought to have a Volvo dealership. If we can drive Fords and Chevrolets, we ought to, and yes, BMWs. We ought to have a dealership. For many women, they'd like to have a BMW to date and marry a blessed man working, a blessed man wealthy, a blessed man worshiping the one and only true God. And so today, my friends, we want you to make sure that in these 40 days, we'll make a difference and transform our home schools and community. What a mighty God we serve. If my people who are called by my name will just humble themselves and pray and turn from their wicked ways, then will they hear from heaven, and I will forgive their sins of racism, sexism, materialism, atheism. I will forgive their sin, and I will heal their land, because I'm God all by myself, and I don't need nobody else. I know what he's able to do. Oh, give thanks unto the Lord for all the things he's done for you. Yeah. Oh, come on, no.